Hello everyone, Veronica Spriggs here, and today I'm at one of the best sites on the whole wide web, and that's www.dafont.com. And there are tons and tons of fonts here. Today I'm going to be grabbing one and showing you how to manage and organize your fonts using a font editor, and then activating them and deactivating them for use in Photoshop or any of your other graphics programs. I'm going to be doing another tutorial right after this one that's going to show you how to create your own alpha. So I was looking for a nice, wide, and interesting font that has a lot of substance to it. And I found one. It's called SC Gum Kids, and I am going to download it now. So I'll just activate the download button. And it says here, in case you're wondering, this font is free for personal use only. So that's something you may want to check out depending on what plans you have for the font that you are downloading. Okay, so I hit download. And I'm going to choose Save File because I want to keep this file. And as you can see, the font comes in zip format, so you are going to need some type of decompressor to open your file. And in my case, I think I'm going to be using WinZip. Okay, so here we go. Just hit OK. And I'm downloading it right to the desktop just so that I can find it easily. And therefore, I'm going to just hit Save. Okay, once my file is downloaded, I'll find it in the location that I saved it to. And you'll notice that I have open already my font editor, and I'm using Suitcase 9. Okay, and we'll come back to that in a minute. So I'm going to go here to SC Gum, and I'm going to right click and choose Extract to SC Gum. And that's going to basically just extract it to its own folder. If I choose extract here, then if the person didn't put the files in a folder, then it would just extract it directly to the desktop. But I like to manage my files in a folder, so I say extract to and then the name of the file. Okay, so here we have the folder, and it's named SC Gum, and you can name that, rename that if you want to, or whatever you have. And good thing I did that, because as you can see, there are actually 3 files in here instead of 1, and it's not going to messy up my desktop. You've got your terms of use file, and it says clearly big as day, non-commercial use, so don't even think about it. And I'm not going to go ahead and open that because I'm just using it for this tutorial. And then you have an OTF file. I'm not even sure what that is. And then you have a TTF. I usually use, OTF, open type font. I don't know why that eluded me for a moment. And I usually use the TTF file, which is a true type font. And now I'm going to show you how to use your fonts in your editors. Okay, now if I were to double click on this, you'll see my font file opens up, and it gives me a preview of how the font looks in all of its alphabet form and also the numerics. It also has characters, and it shows you how it looks with some type. Now up here you will see a button that says install, and this is how you can install the font for using it in your various programs such as Photoshop or PaintShop Pro, Word, whatever, email programs. If you install this, it is going to be installed in Windows and available for you to use in any program that gives you the option to edit your font. The problem with that, however, is if you use this option to install so many fonts in Windows, eventually your system will become bogged down and it will begin to run slower and slower and slower. It just simply is not a good idea to have too many fonts installed on your system. You need to be able to have control over this, and this is where a font editor comes in. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Now I'm using Suitcase by Extensis, and I've used this font editor for years and years and years. I absolutely love it. I have used other font editors, and there are some very good ones out there, even some free ones out there. And if that's an option for you that you'd like to use, go ahead. By all means, it's probably going to work very well. Just make sure you get something to access your fonts. Okay, what you'll have generally is an area for you to install or insert, I should say is a better word, insert your fonts, and you can see here different font collections that I have installed. And then here below is a list of alphabetically every single font that I have installed. They're not grouped, they're just by name. So if I know, for instance, I want to install a font called Hallandale, I could just come here and click and use my keyboard to type in H, and it'll scroll down to the H section, and then I can from there go to Hallandale and look it up. Here it is, Hallandale. And then I could find the one I wanted. Let's say I want the stencil JL, and then I would just click on that, and boom, I have it ready and available for me. And if I didn't know which collection that it was in, and I don't, I could do, that's one way I could go ahead and find my font. If I didn't know what collection it was in, there is a way to find out. I would just right click on it and choose Get Info, and it will tell you here the type of the font, the family that it's in, and basically it'll even tell you where it's located on your computer, so you can find that information easily. It tells you the foundry. It's by Jeff Levine, and the version. So that's one way to get the information of the font that you're looking for. Okay, now how do I install a font? It's very simple. There's a couple of ways. If you just downloaded a font and you want to go ahead and activate it, you just simply drag it into the program here where you keep your font collections. Now you could create a new folder, and you could name the folder Fave Fonts. Okay, so that would basically mean, these are a list of fonts that I go to all the time. So I could just drag that font from the folder that it exists in into the Fave Fonts. And if I open this up now, you can see I have one font in there, and it's called SC Gum Kids. Now, if I click on the font over here in your preview window, you will see exactly what the font looks like. Now, this particular font editor has a drop down where you can choose different selections of how the font is going to be previewed. You've got waterfall, which basically shows the font larger and larger in its ABC format, and ABCs, and then it shows you the 1, 2, 3s and also any characters. And paragraph, how it would look if you typed out a paragraph of some sort. And finally, QuickType. QuickType is probably the one I use the most, because if I'm trying to do a title on my scrapbook page or some other quick journaling, I can just type in what I want to say. And that way I know exactly how it's going to look once I print it on the page. So that's a very useful resource. Okay, now how do I actually activate it? In this case, you can simply just click on the font, and here you have the buttons. Green means activate permanently. Yellow means activate until restart. And basically the difference is, if I choose this activate permanently, that means that whenever I restart my computer and start it back up again, this font is going to be available for me to use. I tend to mostly all the time use activate until restart. That way, when I have my computer on This font is going to be available for me to use until I turn it off, so that once I reboot, the font is no longer activated. It will still be listed here in my favorite fonts, and I can go to it anytime and reactivate it again, but it's not going to be such a memory hog because I'm not leaving it constantly activated. So I just, if I want to use it again, I just come in once again and click on activate until restart. And most of the time, I just right click and choose from here. So here you have the same things. You could create a new set, add fonts, remove fonts, activate permanently or activate until restart, get info, or copy. This folder is for adding fonts, and this folder is for removing fonts from different sets, and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to say cancel. Okay, so I'll click here to add fonts, and then I will navigate to my font folder. Okay, then you navigate to a folder, and here I have some Christmas fonts. So basically you just highlight all the fonts you want to import at one time, and then you click on add. Okay, you can see what it did is it created a new folder, which you could then just click on and rename. And I'll name it Xmas Fonts. Okay, and then you can see here that I have my 3 files already inserted, and then if I scroll down you can see the name here, and then I could just click on one and I could right click and activate it permanently, or I could activate it until restart. Either way in this case would be fine, because even if I did activate it permanently, I could just come in and change it, or I could just come in and deactivate it. And that's how you would do that. And if you were done with those, you could just say, yeah, I want to remove this selection. So say okay, and then that collection is gone. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and activate this font until restart, and that's SC Gum Kids. And that's how you would activate your font in your font program. And then if I go here to my Photoshop, I can see that if I type in SC, you can see that SC Gum Kids comes up because it's active and available for me to use. So I will just click on that and say okay, and you can see that my text that I had open changes into that font. Okay, and that's it. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. We'll see you back for creating your own alphabet in Photoshop. See you then. Bye-bye.